went to the University of Calabar. Unknown to me, I just entered, not knowing that one of the judges of Supreme Court is one of those to be honored. The Senate President's wife was sitting, so I sat there. I told her like this. I said, Judge of Supreme Court. Then I was, sir, this is alma mater, and he's been honored. I was also honored. The next thing I saw, the paper, that the justice escorted me to Calabar. And somebody will sit down to read. You will see what so-called Professor Odinkalu had been writing. And you people will say, oh, nobody has written petition. You don't need to wait for anybody to write. Well, once you see that, you should be able to say, in fact, you don't write this kind of thing. You don't know, so nobody wrote petition. No, it's not acceptable. You haven't read it. Okay. Can you please invite him? Did you write this? Yes or no? You know this. If you don't discipline somebody, nobody will let it listen.
They are just making noise, trying to destabilize the government so that we will not have good development in River State, trying to bring the state back. That's what Wike is known for, causing problem, to inflate poverty on the state, that they should not sign budget.
Nigeria's political space is often dominated by strong personalities who see governance as an extension of their personal power rather than a responsibility to the people. The recent clash between Nyesom Wike, the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, and Professor Chidi Odinkalu, a respected lawyer and human rights activist, is a perfect example of this power struggle. But this isn't just a personal dispute. It exposes deeper issues of free speech, judicial independence, and the culture of political impunity in Nigeria. Now, Wike, known for his combative political style, allegedly ordered the body of benchers, a top legal body in Nigeria, to disbar Odinkalu. Why? Because Odinkalu publicly criticized his actions, particularly his influence over the judiciary. Odinkalu responded sharply on social media, calling Wike out for his intolerance, even mocking his alleged drinking habit. But beyond the personal jabs, he raised a critical question. Is Nigeria's judiciary truly independent? Or is it being manipulated by political figures like Wike? Welcome to another edition of Let's Talk Politics on Naija Anchor News. Join us as we delve deeper into this issue. The core of the controversy stems from an event in Calabar, where Wike was seen publicly sitting with a judge handling a political case in which he had a vested interest. In a democracy, such an action raises red flags. The judiciary is meant to be neutral, yet Wike's presence alongside a judge suggested undue influence. Rather than address the concerns, Wike went on the offensive, using his influence to demand Odinkalu's disbarment. This reaction sends a dangerous message that criticism of powerful politicians can come at a heavy cost.
Somebody came to show me about one write-up where they said there's one professor that wrote. I asked him, professor of which university? Nobody knows. But it's a professor. They say he's a professor of law. Where has he taught law? Nobody knows. Where has he advocated law? Nobody knows. But it's only a professor of law in social media. They had the opportunity. They were given the opportunity in Human Rights Commission. Ask them. What was their performance? What was the record? When the government gave the opportunity to be there? Zero.
Wike became a lawyer in 1998. By that time, I had been a lawyer for over 10 years, in Nigeria at least, right? And I have put in work in all manner of places. I have never been paid a salary by the Nigerian government or any institution in Nigeria except as a youth corper. I want Wike to say the same thing. The man has not had a legitimate life outside the Nigerian state. Okay? So, I can understand the inferiority complex of someone like that, whose entire existence has been dependent on sucking from the feeding bottle, from the sovereign feeding bottle of Nigeria, entirely, legitimately and illegitimately. I can, because Wike cannot tell me. If he can, let him please do so. But Wike cannot tell me that everything he has acquired and owns at the moment can be accounted for in terms of the legitimate earnings that he has had, number one, as a local government chairman, number two, as a chief of staff to the River State governor, number three, as a minister of a junior minister for education under President Jonathan, number four, as a governor of River State for 2 terms, and now as the FCT minister. If he can add up his earnings legitimately, including allowances legitimately, and be able to account for his acquisitions in terms of those legitimate earnings, let him say so. I can account for what I own and anything credited to me in terms of my legitimate earnings. I want Wike to say the same thing. If he can say that, I will be on the same pedestal. If he cannot, I am superior to him. I invite Wike as a minister and as a lawyer and as a citizen to say exactly what I have said. When I was chair of the National Human Rights Commission, I published my assets. They are still available online. I have not borrowed to send my children to school. Okay? I want him to just say something similar. I have not stolen from anybody to send my children to school. No, I have not. I want him to say the same thing. And the only thing I want him to say, the only thing I have is what I could legitimately earn in these offices I have occupied. That's all. Let him publish his assets. Let him publish his asset declaration forms. At that point, I will see him and myself as equals. If he cannot do any of these things, he cannot mop my shoes.
Now, let's see how Professor Chidi Odinkalu responded to Wike's order to the body of benchers to disrobe him. He made 2 short tweets on his verified X handle. This greedy glutton, Governor Wike, has consumed a lot of deadly alcohol again. At this rate, the only lawyers left in Nigeria will be Nyesom Wike and OCJ Okocha. One will be conducting and the other will be twerking to on your mandate. Nigeria's powerful cabinet minister of the Federal Capital Territory and former Rivers State Governor Nyesom Wike has a very dependent relationship with dangerous beverages. Last week, he consumed some of that stuff and while under the influence, asked the body of benchers to get me disbarred for saying the truth about his habit of seeking to accessorize the judiciary. We will tell his story when the time comes. You see, the Calabar event that Professor Chidi Odinkalu wrote about that angered Wike caused it by himself. He is a public, he knows he shouldn't be seen with a judge in public, especially a judge that is handling a case he's involved in. Yes, let's even assume that the judge equally forgot his code of conduct, how he's supposed to conduct himself in public. Wike should have excused himself from the front seat where he was kept. Yes, simply choose another seat because as a public servant, he shouldn't be seen with a judge. So what he should have done was to excuse himself, choose another area to sit. When it's time to receive the award, he will quietly receive the award and disappear. But no, he revels in this kind of thing. People are seeing me with a powerful Supreme Court justice. That means they will fear me the more. They know that no political case, as far as I'm concerned in Nigeria, no one can win me. Which is true, by the way.
This is not the first time Wike has been accused of abusing power or attacking critics. His political career has been defined by confrontations, aggressive rhetoric, and a no-nonsense attitude toward opposition. And a lot of instances in the past has shown that a pattern of intolerance and power is at play.
They are just making noise, trying to destabilize the government so that we will not have good development in River State, trying to bring the state back. That's what Wike is known for, causing problem, to inflate poverty on the state, that they should not sign budget, they should not release allocation, and he's very happy. They should not, okay, the people that are working in government, how should they be paid? Okay, they should not be paid. Because of what? Because of your political gain. They should not be paid.
They said they are serving the interests of the Rivers.
Which interest? Which interest?
Rivers people gave them their mandate.
Give who mandate? Maybe we can write election results for them. Martins and Merule.
That means let's say the same thing for Governor Simfubara.
Because of you want to pocket the state. By right, you're supposed to buy form for people if you no be thief. You're not supposed to finish condemn. What you making they go buy form? They go they carry governor put. And they put Simfubara to become his manager. So that River State will become his boss. Abi? And now the thing no work for him in the verse.
People say Fubara is a betrayer.
Fubara no ever betray him. Fubara no betray him anything. We cannot thief. We cannot thief.
All right, thank you, Mr. Tega.
People that are happy is the people that are benefiting from Wike. It's not people that benefiting there's people that want the River State to be good. It's personal beneficiary. It's not something that will benefit all the whole River State.
For their own pocket.
It's for their own pockets. That is why they are happy.
You know, they are trying to become remain politically relevant in the state. He's trying to keep his political aspiration alive, structure alive, his legacy. That is what brought about this very judgment. And you know that River State, for the government of the day to come to power, it was through the results of River State that made it very possible for the government of the day to come to power. And the River State is a threshold of APC.
Wike has been accused of influencing judicial outcomes, particularly in Rivers State, where court rulings consistently favored his political allies. Critics argue that cases against Wike's faction were mysteriously delayed, while those against his opponents were decided swiftly and unfavorably. The Supreme Court even ruled on a case before it had been fully heard at the lower courts, an unusual move that raised suspicions of judicial interference.
Fellow Nigerians, our democracy is under attack. The pro-Wike group is about to drag our judiciary into disgrace again by attempting to mislead the courts to help cover their legal decampment. Remember the sacked pro-Wike lawmakers of the Rivers State House of Assembly? Last year, they swore an affidavit confirming their decampment in the hallowed chambers of the Assembly.
Some days ago, we defected inside the hallowed chamber. 27 of us in the State House of Assembly never defected to any other party.
But now, they're trying to use the court to rewrite history, seeking to nullify their own sworn affidavits. A case that once rested before Justice Okorowo has now been mysteriously transferred to St. Justice Laifu. Chief Justice John Soho made the call, placing it in the hands of a judge whose past controversial rulings favor this group. Nigerians are watching. The law must not bend to one man's ambition. We need to stop these attempts to ridicule our judiciary. The pro-Wike sacked lawmakers are no longer lawmakers after their legal decampment. Attempts to legalize them will ridicule our judiciary. This message is from the Joint Action for Democracy.
How about Wike's feud with the Nigerian Bar Association? The NBA openly criticized the Supreme Court's handling of a case involving Wike's allies. Rather than accept their right to free speech, Wike lashed out at the NBA, questioning their authority to challenge the judiciary. And this further confirmed fears that Wike sees any form of criticism as an attack on his personal power. And then his verbal attacks and ethnic insults. Wike has a history of making controversial statements, sometimes targeting entire ethnic groups. His confrontational press conferences are often filled with derogatory remarks and threats against political opponents. Yet he reacts ferociously when the tables are turned, showing that he can dish out criticism but cannot take it.
Don't even you tell me I have to support. Who is the one? Who is the bedrock? Who? I'm the one. I am the one that will champion Mr. President. I'm also doing it. You don't preach that one to me. Everybody knows me in this country. Sanction.
Yes.
If Assembly thinks that he committed infraction, and he knows he committed, you find peace. It's not by gara-gara. It's not by threatening.
Gloria,
see, let me tell you, if an armed robber knows he committed armed robbery, what you do when you go to court, my Lord, I did this, forgive me, give me a second opportunity. The judge will look at you. It's okay, now he has done it. Instead of killing him, that I give him 2 years imprisonment, 3 years. Okay. You understand me? No, but when you sit with people trying to tell you Let me tell you how arrogant. Let me tell you this. The governor was misled. 3 weeks to Supreme Court judgment. You know what he did? In my own family, my community, the governor came and removed my chief. My chief, yes. I made another person in my own family. In my own family. Now, that's the point I'm making, because he was giving the hope that he will win the Supreme Court. So nothing. Now you tell me, we played politics to the level you penetrate to somebody's family, to dabble into internal affairs of the family. Now, you know, sometimes when people talk about this peace, you don't take everything to consideration. You just sit outside, you talk. Look at me, former governor, Minister of FCT. Governor has the temerity, the audacity, because they had money from Federation account, because they had money from IGR, would enter my own family to remove the chief and make another person chief.
Odinkalu's biggest concern is not just about Wike. It is about the integrity of Nigeria's legal system. If politicians can dictate who gets punished and who goes free, then the judiciary is no longer a guardian of justice. It becomes a political tool. This is dangerous for democracy. We have numerous examples of judicial interference in Nigeria. Let's begin with the 2023 Presidential Election Tribunal. Many Nigerians felt the tribunal's decision favored those in power without properly addressing electoral irregularities. The governor election cases. In multiple states, court rulings have been inconsistent, with some cases appearing to favor the ruling party while others were delayed indefinitely. How about the case of Sunday Jackson, the Adamawa farmer? A farmer sentenced to death for defending himself against an armed attacker. The rulings seemed to favor the attacker over the victim, raising questions about whether justice is truly blind.
Judgment written by Justice Helen Ogunwumiju. Remember Sunday Jackson, the man that defended himself against an attacker in his farm in Adamawa State? Yes, the justices voted 4-1. The dissenting judgment is very interesting. In summary, the Honorable Justice raised 4 important points and ended up calling for clemency for Sunday Jackson. Number 1, she established that going by evidence that Sunday Jackson faced imminent danger. And you know what it means to face imminent danger. The human body is wired for survival. Once your brain senses danger, you must do what? You must protect yourself, either run away or grab anything that you use to defend yourself. You just have to lock into that protective survival mode. The Honorable Justice established that fact. Number 2, that he wasn't the aggressor. Sunday Jackson was minding his business in his farm, busy toiling in his farm to eke out a living, and out of the blue, someone he hasn't met in his life invaded his farm and started macheting him. He gave him many cuts around the head area, on his arms, leg, and upon all the cuts he received from the attacker, he was able to subdue him. Imagine having all these cuts. Someone with all these cuts cannot run away. That's the reality. Having a cut around the head area, arm and leg, you use your legs to run, and once you have received the cut, that will obviously impede your ability to run. So the justice established all these facts, which leads us to number 3. When someone is caught, he cannot run away. The justice established that there was no way he could retreat. Because imagine receiving all these kind of cuts. Maybe the person is even lying down. He cannot even stand up. But he was still able to overcome his attacker and stabbed him in the neck area. The person later succumbed to his wounds. The 4th point that the Honorable Justice established was that Sunday Jackson used a proportional force against the threat that he faced, which is very, very important in this kind of matter. Just imagine it in your head. Someone was busy, maybe he wasn't even looking around, he was facing the ground while he was working his farm. Someone rushed to him, maybe from his back, but he was able to, after receiving several cuts, maybe he was lying on the ground, somehow overpowered the person, took the knife and defended himself. So it's a wonder that 4 other justices condemned him to death. Yes, it doesn't make any sense. It means that they took the side of an attacker, maybe a terrorist or anyone, Instead of someone that was in his farm, minding his business, he was in his property. And someone that is in his home or his office, anywhere that belongs to him, has the right to stand his ground. You can stand your ground in this situation and say, no, I won't run away from here. I must make sure that I defend myself here. Because if something happens to you on the road or in public, somewhere that you don't even know anyone around the area, you suddenly come under attack and you start running. Where are you going to run to? Maybe the nearest safe place to you is your home, or maybe a police station, or maybe a hospital. Any place that you feel that you will be safe, that's where you have to run to. But what if you don't have anywhere to run to? Like in this situation, the man was attacked already with several cuts on his body. He can't even run. Even if he can run, he can't run as fast as a man can. What do you expect the man to do? He has to face the threat. So this is the issue. When they pass all these kind of judgments, they have to reason better like human beings. When they want to commit fraud, like what happened during the Presidential Election Tribunal, they use all sorts of technicalities to justify what they did. But this time that it involves life and death, they don't want to add any technicality. They will tell you they are applying the law to the letter. These people live in another planet. And the only way to hold them accountable is to continue talking, continue criticizing. The likes of Wike don't like to be criticized because they feel they are overlords that know it all, that no one can correct them, that they are always right.
If power figures like Wike can manipulate legal bodies, who will protect the common Nigerian from injustice? Wike's reaction to Odinkalu suggests that some Nigerian leaders believe they are above scrutiny. Is this acceptable in a democracy? Should public officials be immune to criticism? Of course not. Is the judiciary truly independent? When politically connected individuals always win cases, should Nigerians trust the courts to deliver fair judgments? And why do some leaders demand respect but refuse accountability? Because if a leader cannot tolerate criticism, should they be trusted with public office? Is silence an option, or should people speak up, even at the risk of backlash? My 2 cents on this is, Wike, like all public officials, must remember one thing, that power is temporary. No matter how influential he is today, there will come a time when he will no longer hold office. At this point, the question to ask is, what legacy will he leave behind? One of intimidation and control, or one of accountability and good governance? A true leader does not fear criticism. Instead, they use it to improve governance. Nigerians must continue to demand transparency and question those in power. Now, what do you think? Is Wike wrong for trying to silence Odinkalu? Should the judiciary be more transparent? And what can Nigerians do to protect their democracy? Drop your thoughts in the comments and let's discuss. Make sure to subscribe and stay tuned for more updates on Let's Talk Politics on Naija Anchor News.